Hey, what's up? I'm Chris Abbott, and in this video, we're going to be talking about how to invite someone to church on Facebook coming up. From working with all those churches, I've seen a lot of people do things right, and I've seen a lot of people do things wrong. So in this video, we're gonna be breaking down exactly what to do. We're gonna give you some tips on how to make sure your Facebook ads start working on day one. Okay, so the best way to invite someone to church on Facebook is through targeted Facebook ads, right? Now, why would we do Facebook ads instead of just posting on Facebook when that's free? Well, here's the deal. Whenever you post on Facebook, Facebook shows that to about 3% of the people that like your page. Now, if you're hearing that for the first time, I know it's pretty shocking. It sounds crazy, but go Google it. It's the truth. Facebook only shows your organic posts to about 3% of the people that like your page. So if you have 1,000 likes on Facebook and you go post about your brand new sermon series coming up this Sunday, out of those 1,000 people, Facebook is only going to show your post to about 30 people. The reason they do this, it actually makes sense, right? Facebook is all about relevance. They want to make sure they're showing relevant content to people that actually care about it. And so there's no way that all of those 1,000 people care about every single post that you're posting. So the way that Facebook does is they basically show this to a sample size of about 3% of the people that like your page. And then based on the amount of people that engage through likes, comments, and shares, then they begin to show it to more people. But even then, they might only show it to 40, 50, or 60 people. You're still missing out on the massive majority of people that like your page. So for this reason, we need to use Facebook ads. Because if you think about it, if the people inside your church who already like your page aren't seeing your posts, then neither are the people outside your church. So the best way to do this is with Facebook ads. All right, so I've been talking about Facebook ads for a long time. I've had the opportunity to speak at some pretty incredible conferences and online summits and podcast interviews. And I'm telling you, out of all the churches that I've worked with and talked to about this, the biggest problem I see is that people think that Facebook ads are the magic sauce. So they say, okay, great. I heard all these cool case studies of these churches who grew their church using Facebook ads. I'll go use Facebook ads too. Then when they run Facebook ads that don't perform and don't get any visitors in the door, then they tell themselves a story. Oh, I guess Facebook ads just don't work in Texas. Or I guess Facebook ads just don't work on the East Coast, right? Or you know what? I could see how Facebook ads would work, down south in the Bible Belt, but they just don't work up here in the Pacific Northwest. And the truth is that's absolutely wrong. The problem is you just didn't create your Facebook ads the right way. So that's what we're going to break down. What do you need to do in order to write an effective Facebook ad that's actually going to grow your church? So the magic sauce is not your Facebook ad. The magic sauce is actually in the words that you write. This is the single biggest mistake that I see when people start running Facebook ads for the first time. They don't sit down to think about who they're writing to. So let's talk about that. Let's say that you have a brand new marriage series coming up. Instead of just creating a Facebook ad with the graphic from your marriage series and assuming everyone is going to love that graphic and magically show up on Sunday, instead, let's take a second to think about who we're actually trying to reach. So depending on your church and depending on what's going on, you might be trying to reach, let's say, young families, right? So, okay, young families, are we trying to reach the parents? Are we trying to reach the kids? Are we trying to reach the husband? Are we trying to reach the wife? Well, on social media, typically you're going to get a lot more engagement out of the wife. So let's say we're going to write this Facebook ad for the marriage series to the wife. Now, who exactly are we talking to? Let's actually give her a name. Let's call her Jennifer. Okay, so Jennifer is a stay-at-home mom, and she's trying to figure out how to homeschool her kids, which means she's got a lot more chaos going on in the house with everything that's going on, right? Well, is she married? Okay, yeah, she's married. What does her husband do? Let's say her husband is a salesman, okay? Does he stay at home or does he travel a lot? Well, especially with everything going on right now and kind of the market conditions, he has to do a lot more traveling for his job. Right? So what kind of stress is that having on their marriage, right? What's keeping Jennifer up at night? And this is one of the best questions that you can ask yourself. Once you've figured out who you're writing to, you've given them a name, you've figured out their situation, now ask yourself, what's keeping them up at night, right? So if Jennifer's married and she has 3 kids, she's 35 years old, man, she's probably wondering, how's my marriage, right? If her husband has been working a lot, I'm sure he loves her, but maybe that's put a little bit of strain on their relationship. Maybe with all the traveling that he's done, she doesn't have a chance to talk to too many adults. I mean, she's got 3 kids she's trying to homeschool every single day. She might not be able to remember the last time they had a date night or the last time that she was able to have an adult conversation with another mom. Right? So ask yourself, what is it that's keeping her up at night? She's probably worried, does my husband still love me? Right? Is my husband still attracted to me? I've had 3 kids, right? Maybe she gained some weight along the way and she's really self-conscious about that. She might be wondering about her friends. Back when they were single, she might have girls' nights all the time, but now that she's got kids and it's taking up so much time, right? These are the things that are keeping her up at night. And so what you want to do is when you run a Facebook ad promoting your series, you're not talking about the series, you're talking about Jennifer. You're talking about what's keeping her up at night. All right, so now that you know who you're writing to, let's talk about how to actually structure the ad itself. This is a simple 3-part framework that I call hook, interest, action. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to come up with a hook, right? So you got to get people to stop the scroll. One of the best ways to do this is with a selfie video because it looks like it was just posted on there. It doesn't look like an ad, right? And then in the selfie video, you need to make sure that the first 3 seconds are going to be your hook. You also want to make that part of your ad copy. So a great way to use a hook is something like a question, right? Especially something that's going to make them say yes, right? So with Jennifer, you could start with a line like, hey, are you laying awake at night trying to remember the last time you had a date night, right? Jennifer's gonna say, yes, totally, right? And so are most married couples, right? So find something like that. You can also say, hey, can I ask you a personal question? Every single person's gonna stop and pause to find out what that personal question is, right? Or you can say, hey, what's up? I've got a challenge for you. That's gonna people's curiosity. It creates just a little bit of a hook to get people to stop and check out your ad. Okay, the next thing you need to do is pique their interest. And the best way that you can do this is either with a story or if you continue talking about the things that are keeping Jennifer up at night. You basically want to answer the question, what's in it for me? So if somebody comes and they take a look at your ad and you're talking to them about your new marriage series and they ask the question, well, what's in it for me? Your ad needs to answer that question before they ever ask it. So everything in there needs to be talking about them. Remember, people don't care that your dog died, they care that their dog died. Everyone is inherently selfish. That's not a bad thing. It's just the way that we are. So people are wondering, why would I care about this? What's in it for me? So your ad copy should walk people through what problems your marriage series is going to solve. Okay, so if your ad is useless and annoying, it's called spam. And a great way to check on this is to look at your relevance score and find out how relevant the information in your ad is to the people that you're targeting. And remember, the point isn't to get information out there, it's to start relationships. And the last part of the framework is a call to action. You want to have one call to action, which is an easy next step for every single person to take who sees the ad. The point of the copy is to get the reader to take the next step. It's to get them to take action. So figure out what action you want people to take and then reverse engineer your ad according to that action. Okay, so I've got 3 fun tips on how to create ad copy for your Facebook ad. But before I do that, if you like this video and if you found it valuable, will you share it, even on Facebook? Share it with somebody that needs to see it so we can help more churches. All right, so tip number 1, be interesting. Okay, be unboring. Try to create something that's gonna be kind of fun and that people are gonna wanna share. So for example, I wrote a Facebook ad one time that said, this Sunday is International Go Back to Church Day. Did I just make that up? Yep, sure did. But if you're reading this, it's not an accident because for you, this really might be International Go Back to Church Sunday. All right, so it's fun, it's kind of laid back, but it's also interesting. It's interesting enough to pique people's curiosity. They're gonna read and they might even chuckle along the way. So your ad copy should have a smile. It should be laid back and it should read like one friend texting another. Tip number 2, write casual copy. Now, the best way to do this is to write this instead of like an English paper that you would have written in 12th grade with proper grammar and everything like that. You want to write how people actually talk. So the best way to do this is to write it like a coffee shop invite. So if you were in line at Starbucks and you met somebody and they were asking about your church, what are the things that you would tell them? You wouldn't tell them about your hymn of the week or about the choir that has going on or the baptisms and baby dedications. You just hit the highlights. You'd say, oh yeah, it's a really fun church. Man, we don't judge people. You can kind of wear whatever you want, drink coffee in the sanctuary. It's actually every Sunday at 11 o'clock, right? That's a coffee shop invite. So your Facebook ad should read more like a coffee shop invite and less like your 12th grade English paper. And finally, tip number 3, don't try to be funny. Now, here's the funny thing. In professional writing circles, they know that humor is literally the highest form of writing, and it's the hardest one to do. So don't try to be funny when you write your Facebook ads. The problem is most of the time, it might be funny to your tribe and the people that know you because they know your personality and they know your humor. But to people that don't know you, a lot of times it's just gonna come off as awkward. So don't try to be funny. Don't try to make people laugh. Just be authentic. Authenticity trumps humor every single time. Okay, so if you want to learn more about Facebook ads and how to grow your church with social media, just click on the link below or head on over to churchgrowthagency.com. We've got a free video that'll actually show you the exact framework that has generated over 6,000 plan your visits in the last 18 months.